We did a section of the Nymboida River that flows into the mighty Clarence. Clarence is one of our biggest river systems that we have here. Nymboida is way up in the headwaters, up near Dorrigo, Osterbrick, that sort of area. This is right up in the, well, not up in the top reaches, but getting up there, near Platypus Flats, the Pothole, and a lot of whitewater rafting companies do this trip. We're down a little bit further, not much further, a little bit further at a place called the Junction. And the Junction was where we started the 3 trips. Just looking at Google Earth here, looking at basically the river trip that we did, and you'll see the bridge there, and then about another 5 k's on we come into the township of Nymboida.
So here we have the 4 pioneers, myself, Chloe Bell, Caleb, and next to him his dad Rob, and then my dad Troy.
This was our first trip, and this was our first campsite for the night that we camped over. Getting the canoes organised here, big part of the trip. Big part of the trip, organising yourself, putting the right stuff in the right order, getting the canoes weighted correctly makes a big difference to whether you'll be staying upright and dry or doing a little bit of swimming. Just looking there, you can see the first part of the trip, much more isolated and harder to get into if anything went wrong. As you get further down, you can see farming country starts to open up and it becomes a little bit more accessible.
Here we are getting our camp ready. It was a lovely trip down the river, and we're setting up camp here after a very hard day of paddling.
Great thing to do with your daughter, great thing to do with your kids, grandkids. Chloe and I had an excellent time, the sort of stuff that you remember for a long time. I want you to notice there's going to be a little tree coming up here with the canoes tied up. Notice where the water's edge is, and take note of that over the 3 trips, and you'll see that this is the highest that the river was at. We had some great times, Chloe. What do you think, sitting around the campfire? Caleb in his very flash-looking shorts there.
It was a lot of fun, as you can see there. We had some really great laughs. We had lots of lollies.
The shots that we got throughout the morning there were absolutely beautiful. Rob was the main one taking photos. Did an excellent job. Sadly, we should have taken a lot more, but you can see what we got, a part of God's creation that's absolutely beautiful.
Going down the river here, it was really, really nice until you started getting to the rapids, and then you were just like, oh, brace yourself.
Anything's likely to happen, and it can all happen pretty quick. Just for the record, I'd like to say that these 4 people that you're looking at, even though they have the highest in as far as river heights go, just about made it within about 10 metres of the end without falling out of the canoe. We did, however, on occasions happen to go backwards down a few rapids.
Now, it all looks pretty calm there, but once you get to a rapid, it is so crazy. You can hear the noise of the rapid going down.
And here we are in the paddock. We had to go and ask some property owners could we drive the vehicle in, and at this point Rob's also had to jog about 2 or 3 k's to go and fetch the vehicle from the bridge. All in all, we had a terrific couple of days and really enjoyed each and every person, the company of everybody. Second trip, so here we are to do it all over again. This time I've got myself, my good friend Jim, daughter Katie, and my good looking wife there under the hat, Laurie, catching more fish than any of us. We caught a lot of fish on this trip. First trip we didn't fish at all, and Jim, being the fisherman he is, he inspired us, and we had a great time. Jim being kind enough to take Katie with him in his canoe. We once again had great company and a very, very enjoyable trip. Just there telling my dad that next time he gets to come. As far as river heights go, what we've got here on our first trip, I'm pretty sure it was about 1.5 to 1.6 at the weir in Nymboida. We've now got about 1.3, and our last trip I'm pretty sure was 1.1. Definitely shooting the rapids, great fun. Laurie in her element. Here we are, Jim and Katie shooting some more rapids.
Nice one, Katie. I wasn't here for this trip, but I'm going to stick around anyway and keep talking. But I do remember the peacefulness of starting off and then coming up to the first rapid and just being like, are you kidding me? Is this what we have to deal with the whole time? Yes, I'm so excited.
That fish that you see me holding there, opening my mouth, what happened was Katie had hooked up on one of these little cod, and they're a reasonable fish, and then too much to her surprise, one that would have been probably a good, say, 800, 900 centimetres long, come and swallowed it whole. She fought it for about 10 minutes, and after that time it spat it out, and the fish continued to live and swim around, and that was the fish that I was there holding. We released it and it swam off like nothing had happened. Red-belly blacksnake taking a little swim. Here's that tree again. You'll have a look. It's about 2 canoe lengths from the water's edge. So a good whole canoe length that's actually dropped in river height. This is a spot of our first night that we camped on both the first and the second trip. Jim and I just trying to figure out the technicalities of setting his tent up.
That was our first spot that we camped, our only spot, so I remember it very well. And they're getting the fire set up again, I can see. It looks all really nice so far.
We'll see here the girls mixing up a batch of damper and getting very excited to spin it on some sticks and put it over the fire. This was Jim's doing, and a great part of the trip.
No one really looks their best after a whole day of canoeing down the river and no showers, but I think they managed it pretty well.
We had a great time. Beautiful, beautiful, just sitting around the fire, telling stories and talking about the day that's just been. Catch and release. All our fish were caught and released. There's only 2 fish out of all the fish that we caught that were actually eaten, and you'll see them coming up. This is one beautiful big fish that Katie caught. These are bass. And one that Jim caught, and they were our 2 fish that we ate. Another one of Laurie's. Good sized bass. Look, you see there's a few shots of these, but to be honest with you, it was a big thing for us to take these couple of fish out of play and eat them. We sat around, cooked our fire for lunch, and had a great time. But it's sort of nice that, you know, 98% of the fish that you're catching are released.
I remember in my trip, one of the favourite things that I remember was getting up in the morning and looking, seeing all the fog everywhere along the ground, and looking at the spider webs and seeing the rocks. It was very, very picturesque. And I'm really, really disappointed I missed out on things to take.
Here we are at the end of our trip, pulling out at Nymboida coaching station. A lot easier than our first trip. Great times were had by all. Fantastic company. I think that's what makes a big part of the trip. Third and final trip of this video, we're coming through Glen Ray, all up from Coffs Harbour to Nymboida. The town of Nymboida you've got about an hour. Then tack on about another half an hour from Nymboida to what they call the junction, where you get dropped off and where you need that 4-wheel drive just to get down that steep road that lasts for about a k and a half. Here we are at Nymboida Canoe Centre. Nymboida Canoe Centre was where Steve and his dad hired the canoe. You ring the Nymboida Canoe Centre and they'll be more than happy to help you out. They hire drums and other things that you may need to do the trip that we've done, and certainly a good way to go if you don't have a plastic canoe. Here we are on our way. We've got the mystery man that I'll introduce later on in the blue shirt sitting in the front with Steve and my dad Graham, and we've got Tom, there we are, Tom and Troy sitting in the back. Well done, boys. There we are, there's Tom, Troy sitting in the back of the Hilux on our way down into the junction. Canoe's been packed and ready to sail. You've got the father and son team there of Steve and Tom on the left, and on the right you've got Troy and Graham. We're all studying our map. I knew I had done the trip before, but I like to let everybody have their opportunity to have input so that I don't feel like the only turkey when we end up somewhere that we shouldn't have been. All looking there, having a bit of an idea on where we're going and where we're hoping to camp out for our night. Remembering that this trip was going to take 2 nights and we had 3 days canoeing on the Nymboida, other than the 2 that we previously had. I want you to keep your eye out for this mystery man here in the blue shirt. Might get Chloe to tell you a little bit about him.
This is Brian in the blue shirt, and he was a huge help with both trips that we did, the second and third one. Not me really, because I wasn't there. But we couldn't have done it without Brian. So thank you, that's for Brian.
Here's right.
So going down this rapid, this was the first rapid that we went down. We all pulled off to the side and we had a quick look, and we were like, yeah, we can do this. This will be fun. So Rob and Caleb pulled out first, but as they were going down, the front of their canoe hit a rock which turned the back around. So they ended up going down this rapid backwards, and all we could hear was just yelling from their canoe.
I'm excited. Boys are excited.
So as me and Dad went down, Dad turns to me and he says, "You see that, Chloe? That is what we don't want to do."
I want you to notice on this third and final trip that you're going to be looking at, it was the lowest that the water had been, and there's a lot more exposed rock, which, the water's not flowing as fast, but I would have to say made it a lot more difficult in negotiating your way down the rapids. Every time you see that camera jolt or move, it's not Graham not being able to hold it steady enough, it's the canoe hitting another rock. There we are, good example of what I was just talking about, and thrown into a full 360. Let me tell you, Dad and I stayed dried through the 3 days on our trip, but I would have to say it was maybe a little bit of the Lord's blessing and a bit of good luck that was on our favour rather than good navigation at all times. We come very close a number of times. Things can be going along quite well, and then it can come undone fairly quickly.
So they're just going along all nicely, and everything's going fine until... I think they needed that. It was too hot anyway.
Can all come undone pretty quick. But I think it was morning tea time anyway. It was about to stop up and have a little bit of a spell. Not really that big a deal falling out of the canoe. As you can see, the sun's starting to get low. Country's still as beautiful as ever, and we're really not exactly sure where we're going to camp because we haven't done the trip before where we've camped for 2 nights. So we're making our way down, and when we find something that we think's a good thing, we're going to pull up. Hopefully we're going to pull up here soon because we're starting to run out of daylight. Been a fantastic day and enjoyed by all, I'm sure. We've caught a few fish, but mainly we've just had an excellent time just enjoying the river. Here we are at our first night, set up camp, and great spot. Tom and Troy there, enjoying the fire, drying our chairs out, maybe a few wet clothes. Great spot. Just a good time to relax and sit around the fire, enjoy a warm cuppa.
So like I was talking about before with the fog in the morning, that's probably a really good example of it. Well, this is a really nice breakfast here. From what I can remember of our first trip, all we got was a really big plate of onions to share between us, which I think ended up in fire.
Come on, Chloe, we're on a tight budget. That was our first trip. This is a sponsored trip, this one.
Poor Caleb, he was trying to eat them all. I think he nearly threw up.
This is a sponsored trip. This is, we've got Poppy on board here, and Tom, we had to look after them. Getting an idea from the days we had on all the trips. Oh, good on you, Tom. Hooked up to another fish. Well done. Another eastern cod. Let him go. This is he's slipping him back into the water there. As you can see, we were very fortunate, very blessed with the weather. On all 3 trips we had fantastic weather.
Oh, there's Poppy. Not paddling. Because apparently we couldn't find the second paddle.
He's looking for it, he's looking for it.
Either Dad left it at home or Poppy's hidden it somewhere.
Anyway, I think it's best he just hangs on. What do we think there, viewers at home? Is he actually hanging on for grim death or actually enjoying himself? Maybe a bit of both. This arm that we're taking here is not the main stream. Main stream's on the left. This is a right hand arm, still on the same river, but just a little sidetrack as the other one's got a massive rapid that we didn't want to have to negotiate. You see here that there's a tree coming up and things can come undone very quickly. Thankfully we knew it was there this time and thankfully avoided it. This spot here is where we camped the first night on the first and second trip, and what we used for lunch on our third trip. There it is there on the bank. There's that small tree that you can see, and you'll see when the canoes are pulled up how the water has dropped once again. A fair bit different. Doesn't seem like much on the scale of 1.5 to 1.3 to 1.1, but as far as river height goes, it makes a massive difference. Here we are, pulled up to our second campsite, and just getting ourselves organised, sitting around, drying things out, getting ready for a meal. Got our tent set up there, and once again just enjoying the fire. I didn't catch many fish, but I did get myself a little bass, right on dark, or it was pretty well dark. They started hitting the water and catching little bugs, so I put in a little popper and bang, got him.
Ah yes, the feeling of relaxing after a hard day of canoeing. I love that feeling.
As you can see, little chilly. And yes, we have splurged on the budget, but that's our sponsors. Thankfully have negotiated there and maybe upgraded from onions, Chloe. So, look, it was a little bit chilly in the evening, but the daytimes were beautiful as long as you stayed dry. here we are, just leaving our campsite and heading home for our last day. Steve just giving us the thumbs up there that we've got the idea of putting the GoPro camera, taping it onto the end of Steve's canoe, and with the aim of Dad and myself following him down the rapids. Well, let's see how we go. Fortunate here that Dad and I didn't come undone at this stage. We hit a big rock and got stuck in a big wave, but none of it was on footage, as Steve and his dad Tom had troubles of their own. This next rapid coming up caused us all a little bit of grief, actually. So peaceful.
And here we have some lovely footage of some rocks underwater. I'm pretty sure they were trying to get some footage for a National Geographic thing, so that tip was intentional.
So we decided maybe it might be best with the wild rapids that we lower our canoe down. Look, it's all part of the fun, and I think you'd be a fool to go on a trip like this and not expect that at some point there's a fair chance you might be going for a swim. Having all your stuff in enclosed drums and dry bags is really the only way to travel. This is the bridge, Pollock's Bridge I think they call it, about 2 k's outside the township of Nymboida, and by river you are looking at about another 5 k's of paddling. Another still very pretty and well worth doing if you've got the time.
Coming up soon is a rapid where Caleb and his dad Rob, on our first trip down the Nymboida, where they came off, we were just coming up to the end of it, and then all of a sudden they just tipped off, and we were like, what just happened? And we were pretty close to coming off too, but being the professionals that we are, we managed to stick it out.
Don't know about professional play, maybe just fortunate.
The water here is deceptively calm. Show this footage to anybody and they'll really want to go on this canoe trip. But you just know that there's a rapid waiting around the next corner.
Here we are pulling the canoes out. This was definitely a lot easier than our first spot where we pulled out with Chloe and Caleb and Rob. Packing them on Steve's 4-wheel drive, and another excellent trip and good fun had by all. Can't encourage you enough to get out there and enjoy God's creation and enjoy what we've got sitting on our back doorstep. We're living in a beautiful part of the world around Coffs Harbour.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We hope you enjoyed it.